back with Kirsten Olson from Lawyer's Title.
Hi.
And with Mike Hodges.
Hello.
And Mike, you were on our last episode when we were talking about mine or opportunity zones.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
But this time it's a different topic.
I love this topic.
This is a hobby for you.
It is.
We got
I enjoy
into Tim Hughes from Empire talking about mining claims, and I know you're an avid miner.
Yes.
And so tell me exactly why are you avid mining? What is here that you would mine?
Well, there's gold in the creeks, and Prescott's Lynx Creek's historically known for the most amount of gold found in any creek in Arizona. And so just going up to Lynx Creek, you can go find flakes and little pieces and nuggets up there. I just enjoy it. It's great exercise, and metal detecting and gold mining and
So I can retire.
no,
I
it's
can
hard
just go
to.
and mine and retire.
No, a lot of people think they can. So
Okay.
they're like, what does it take to make $20 an hour? Is the
Okay.
standard question. And it takes a lot of hard work. And to do it 6 or 7 days a week to get $20 an hour consistently would be really, really hard.
Okay, so Steve was kind enough to print me off some information, and it
Right.
says that, if I understand this correctly, Abraham Lincoln sent troops here to protect our gold?
So once Arizona became a territory,
Yes.
and the primary reason for becoming a territory at that time was to gain access to precious metals.
Okay.
And so when the miners were coming back from California, they came across the Prescott area, what is now Prescott, and found gold laying on the ground.
Okay, so now we talked about the mining claim, so it's not just in the claim that's that legal description of property.
Right.
And is it just in Lynx Creek?
No. In fact, most every creek up in the Bradshaws has some color in it. They'll describe it as color. A piece or two, a flake or two. If you go through a bucket of dirt, you'll generally find a little bit of gold up in the creeks. But finding it where it's concentrated is the most important thing to do, because you can work all day and find black dirt and not find a lot of gold.
Okay, so if I wanted to do this as a hobby, what do I need to do? Do I
Gold
just
pan.
take a pan from my kitchen and go on out?
That's a great place to start.
I'm sure,
No,
I'm
I
sure
wouldn't
anybody
get
who
a
cooks
pen.
doesn't think so, but
I
yes.
wouldn't get a pen from the kitchen. You go out to A&B Prospecting out in Prescott Valley. He's got
Okay.
a great little store. You
Okay.
can go online, Amazon. You can buy a gold pan and just go out to Lynx Creek and start digging around and find a few pieces of gold. And once you find a nice piece, it really becomes addictive. And gold fever is true.
An ounce of gold is, what's the
Ru-
spot price?
Roughly 1,800, between $1,800 and $1,900 right now.
So I just have to find an ounce.
You just have to find an ounce to pay
Right.
for some equipment. Yeah.
That's not bad. Now, so when I go out and I gold pan, can I just go anywhere? And is there any like mining etiquette that I have to be aware of, or?
You can't go anywhere on the BLM or a national forest. You can't go
Okay.
on state trust land without a permit
Oh.
or permission or some way to get on there. But
You can
can't
go out to the National Forest.
You can go out to the national forest, and a lot of their areas are claimed. So you want to look for areas where you don't see claim markers, big white posts, or red, white, and blue posts, or golden posts sticking out of the ground, or there'll be a federal mining claim, yellow and black sign on it says federal mining claim. You're allowed to. You can still walk through it and hike and camp. You're just not allowed to pick up any rocks.
Okay, and if I do pick up rocks, is that like a felony?
Yeah, you're.
Are you
claim jumping.
serious? Oh,
Doggone right.
wait, you
a-
get shot for
Better-
that. I'm pretty sure you get shot.
You better believe it. No. But there are people that really put up a big stink when you cross their claims. And so everybody out there has a way of protecting themselves against the wilderness itself.
Okay.
But they don't take too kindly at $1,800 an ounce.
Well, it's
Right.
stealing.
It is, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
To get the dirt
But
out.
there's a lot of what they call gold flake.
Yes.
A lot of, because I have a gold mine listed for sale,
Right.
and it was gold flake, and that's really hard to mine.
It is hard to mine.
So-
It takes a chemical to leach that out. So you get batch and put it in a pond and leach that chemical out, put mercury through it or whatever your leaching process through, and it attracts the gold and puts it out on a plate for you to scoop up.
But that's
So-
a lot of dirt, though.
Yeah.
It is a
So
lot of
again,
money.
I need a gold panning pan.
Right.
Do I need a metal detector?
Metal detectors is my favorite way to go out and detect anywhere. 'Cause you can go get gold dust all day long, But when you find a really nice piece of gold and it hits just right on your metal detector, it's great fun. Now, it's hard, you don't wanna go out and waste your money on a metal detector that won't find gold, and there's a lot of those out there.
Yeah, they look for other stuff, because we're not just gold, we're also known for copper.
Yes, copper, I've got a copper nugget
You have a copper
right
nugget?
there.
Look,
That's
it's
what
show and tell.
copper looks
That's
like
copper?
naturally. See the green
Yeah,
malachite
yeah.
and azurite staining? That's a copper, flattened copper nugget found down in Copper Basin.
Okay, now I know at one time people were stealing the copper out of like vacant buildings.
Yeah,
Now is copper still worth a lot?
it is. I don't
Copper's up there.
As a nugget, it's worth more as specimens for people to hang on a chain and put around their neck. So if I cleaned that all up and get rid of all of the, outside materials on it, that would be a nice little
You'd have enough to make a penny.
raw pendant. Yeah. I'd have enough to make a penny.
Do you have to have some kind of geology to understand what you're looking at?
You
when
don't
you're-
have to. It
No.
sure helps though, because gold's so much heavier than any other mineral in the ground. It's so much heavier than water 20 times.
Okay,
That it helps to understand how lazy gold is and the path that it might take in a creek, or to understand gold deposits on mountains and how weather might weather that away from its deposit and downhill toward a stream. But the bigger nuggets are generally up on the hillsides, and there's been so much mining in Prescott, they've gone
Yeah.
through most of the creeks, so all of the easy gold is
Gone.
pretty much gone.
Well, there used to be a saying where if you found white quartz
Yes.
on the ground, that's usually a sign where that gold in the area.
It is.
Is that true?
Yep, and they've come to understand now that bull quartz is like we've got the white spars has that big bunch of bull quartz that does not have a lot of gold attached to it. But if you look at the areas around that, for instance, toward Skull Valley and toward Wilhoit and Yarnell, a lot of that is highly mineralized ground. So they say that a big concentration of quartz generally doesn't have a lot of gold in it.
Okay.
But if you have small veins and fissures and angles that shoot off of that generally can contain the gold. So yeah,
okay,
quartz
so,
is a good signal.
Did you know that?
no, I didn't know that, but now it makes me question. So if I get my little gold pan and I just go out to one of the creeks that's on BML lands,
BLM.
BLM lands, and I come across this fissure, and
Uh-huh.
there's no sign saying it's a mining claim,
Yeah.
can I dig at that fissure?
Yes, you can.
Wow, for how
Yeah,
long?
it's important to take it till you get it. Well, if you find gold in it and you want to protect it, because if people start noticing you digging that fissure every day, somebody might go by, I wonder why she's digging that fissure every day. So you want to make sure you claim that area of
Well,
land.
I'm blonde. There's a lot of people just kind of quit
They would
questioning
just-
a while ago. Yeah,
So maybe we can explain what a fissure is.
yeah. What's a fissure?
A fissure, well, there's a few different kinds. What you're looking for to find gold, you're looking for a fissure in the ground or some type of a crack in bedrock. There's veins or that come off of quartz or quartz veins that you can look for with gold,
Yeah.
but they're very hard to find. And anything on the surface is generally the gold is weathered out of it because it's already oxidized. So
Okay.
a vein is really hard to find unless it's underground.
And we
And
do.
it doesn't have to be underground by far. So a
Right.
metal detector, back in the day, in the original 49ers day, they didn't have metal detectors. And up until about 5 years ago, the quality of metal detectors, 5 or 7 years ago, the quality of metal detectors was not as good as it is now. So,
What's a good gold metal detector?
I like if you're looking for gold and you're just getting into it, I would suggest a gold machine like the MineLab Equinox 800.
Okay.
Because it also finds relics. So if you're
Right.
just getting into it and you're not sure and not finding gold every day, and you want to go find something like this candle holder from an old miner
Yeah,
in the
you were
late
explaining this.
1800s.
What now? How does this candle? Because you found this. Were you panning for gold?
I was on
Okay.
the hillside looking for gold nuggets.
And what is that? That's a candle holder. But how does that candle holder work? Because this is
So-
what I thought was ingenious.
Yeah, back in the 1800s, early 1900s, didn't have electricity.
Right.
They only had, some of them had the carbide lamps, which
Right.
were nice, but originally they had these candle holders. So if you were to open that up, you could set your little candle in there, you could hang it on your helmet and walk around in a cave. Or if you had to go into a tunnel, you could straighten that out and go put a few candles and put it right into
Oh,
the
and then
wall.
just stick it right. That's a
Yeah,
brilliant idea.
And you'd have light enough to drill it and do your mining.
And now you told me too is that if they did find gold, that sometimes they would take the candle out and seal this. So was there
Yeah.
gold in here?
So there wasn't, I looked. So a lot of times if miners would go out and they wouldn't have a pouch or they wouldn't have their nugget catch and they found gold, they would stick it in something like a tobacco tin
Right.
or something like that where they would make sure that they would seal up what they
And
had.
they could get back
Yeah,
to it.
and a lot of times they would sit on a rock and go on mining and forget about it. Or
So
if a
now,
rainstorm would
what
come
is
on.
this?
This is an old can, so this is an indicator. If you're looking for golden creeks and you want to know where the old miners were, new cans and things like that, you can know people probably just in there hiking. But this is an old can from 1875 to 1917
Now, how do you know that?
because it was sealed for once with a lead. And we're not allowed to solder lead
Right.
seal anything
I didn't know
anymore.
that.
Yeah, and it has 2 outer rings. They normally only, the more modern ones have 3 embossed rings on the outside. And this is the old way they would get their condensed milk. So this is
Right.
an old condensed milk container. And they
now-
would just punch holes in the top and they had their soldered can. And they made these all the way up until 1917. So you look for things like this so that you know you're in an old area
Okay.
because that's where the old miners were. So when you want to find gold, go where gold has been found.
So the metal detector will help you locate
Yes.
this kind of stuff to give you an indication of where it could be.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you brought something else.
Yes, fool's gold.
Now
How
that
about a really nice chunk of fool's gold?
when I was growing up, that's what my dad was like, oh look, gold, and it'd be like, that's not real gold.
What's fun about that is a lot of times small particles of gold, like at your flake mine,
Right.
you'd have to either grind that up at the mine that you have, the patented mine, maybe too fine to even grind. You may
Right.
have to leach that into an acid wash and then electromagnetically.
You know, that's a good segue, talking about that big tower we have in Mayor.
Yes.
You wanna
Oh,
talk a little bit about that?
I would love to talk about that.
Which big tower in Mayor?
The smokestack. Is
I
that
love
what you're
the
referring to?
smokestack.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it was meant, they originally built it.
I heard they shipped it in from California.
They, in pieces,
In
yeah.
pieces.
And then built it there on the site. And they never really put a lot of gold or material through it. They wanted to make it look like they were. So they built fires in it and they made it look like a production site. And they had people walking in and out with wheelbarrows and ore carts to sell
So
stock
this is
to
an
people back
advertising.
east
Yeah.
for the rich gold mines that we had out here in the West.
Oh wow, I bet you that went over really well.
It did. It
Yeah.
sold, and they tried it in other places also. But Mayor's really so that famous smokestack is a wonderful.
It's a con.
It's great though. Isn't it a wonderful place?
It's beautiful. I
It
love
really
it.
is.
I love looking at it. It's just a historical
But now, if you
landmark.
look at the hills around that, you can see the guy behind it tearing up the mountain,
Yeah,
Right.
and so they're getting some.
they're getting built new.
So
Well, there's a
buildings.
move to keep it. There was a move to
Good.
remove it,
Yeah,
and then a lot of people came out to keep it for historical.
Wouldn't that be something neat to
that
be able
would
to
be. I
make
like our
something in there?
history. So let me ask you this. So basically, most of the gold that people will find when they're mining is going to just be flecks. Nobody finds big nuggets.
They still do.
They do?
Yep. Most people nowadays don't talk about it because, well, you think it's social
I don't think
media.
they talk about it back then. I'm pretty sure nobody said much.
Not as much, and so you read the old geological reports and you find out where the big nuggets have been found,
Yeah.
and then you read about, well, I'm gonna make up names because I don't want to point anybody, but Mr. Smith sent us to another creek where he said his nuggets were found.
No.
And so you never know. And
Yeah.
what really gets me is the Walker Party.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just not buying any of it.
Okay, I don't know what the Walker Party is.
The Walker Party came up through
I
the
didn't read
Hacienda.
it.
Yes, and there eventually came up through the tributaries, up through the Hacienda and Granite Creek, and into the Bradshaws, and discovered the gold that we had in Prescott. So that's why Walker is formed.
Right, which is a lot of mining.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
and some big nuggets and potato patching and nuggets were truly
Really?
found. They really were. And the gold gradually got finer as you got closer to the highway. Although there's, Gold Rush and those shows are still coming out. If you watch Gold Rush on Friday nights,
Yeah.
you
Right.
can still see them out on Lynx Creek and out on Big Buck Mining.
Oh my gosh, so then they do still find nuggets.
Well, they're finding more flicks, but yes, they're still finding nuggets. And the last big nugget that I heard of was a few years back, a 7-ounce nugget found.
Wow.
Yeah, 7 ounces.
Can I retire on that?
Yeah, I'm pretty close.
Okay.
You could take a month off.
I was gonna say, maybe not completely retire,
And
yeah.
specimen, so that's a specimen when you get to something that big. So that's worth more than just the value of the gold. So if you get a 7-ounce nugget, you consider, well, at $1,800 an ounce, it's worth $14,000. It's not true. It's worth whatever someone's willing to pay for the aesthetic value of
Okay,
that.
now do people actually sell it or do they hold on to it?
They hold on to it until it's sold, but a lot of people hold on to it. Like
Yeah.
this current nugget for sale.
Yeah, I brought a
is
picture of it.
a beautiful nugget, and I wasn't allowed to bring it with me. It wasn't found here, but that's a 2-pound nugget. It looks like a
Wow.
lump of
Wow.
oatmeal, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It looks like dirt.
It does, and that was found, and the guy's selling that now for about $35,000.
Wow.
Wow.
And he's got a little bit of a market for it.
Really?
So these are the nuggets so you can
Well,
see.
I was gonna say probably this might be a little easier because
Yeah.
this is what I normally see with people that are
Right.
panning for gold.
Yes, that's more like what you find. So when you talk about metal detecting, you want to make sure your detector will find gold like that, and so many of them won't.
Okay, so now is this what they find with that metal detector that you mentioned? They'll find that in the ground.
Yeah,
And this is like a leach
This
that you
is-
did?
this was, we went in with pans and just spent some time shoveling and panning. So this is out of one gold pan out of Lynx Creek.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and so when you think about, is there still gold in Lynx Creek? That's viable to mine, because that's a
Right.
nice little bit of gold.
Yep.
Right.
But it's not meant to be taken advantage of
Right.
by going out and removing huge portions of our Lynx Creek that's meant for weekend miners to just go out with their families and enjoy a nice weekend. And that's unfortunately what's happening.
So
on
there's,
Lynx
they
Creek.
got that Lynx Creek run behind the dam at Lynx Creek.
Yes,
And that's really popular when there was water in there. But
Yeah.
I haven't seen water in there. Maybe now there's water.
there is a trickle, but the problem with it now, since there's no water and you're not allowed to take anything mechanical on there, you can't
Right.
take sluices or electronics, or you're not allowed to metal detect on that part of Lynx Creek. You can up near Walker.
Okay.
But that part of Lynx Creek is meant for hobbyists
Right.
and weekend miners that,
To take the grandkids and kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
make
so-
make it a memory.
yes,
an
you have a
experience.
picnic by a beautiful Lynx Creek,
Yeah.
and you go out and it's a nice day. You have the Highlands Center, the Natural Center,
Right.
right there. And unfortunately, some amateur miners
Mm-hmm.
that have gotten decent at removing gold from dirt have decided that since there's no water and we're not allowed to use electronics or any type of equipment, we'll just take the dirt home.
I do see that. They'll come out there with their 5-gallon buckets
Yes.
and they'll load them up with dirt.
Yes, and take
But
them home.
isn't that against the law?
It's against the law. It's
Right.
the wrong thing to do. Not only is it to take away from the habitat in the riparian area out there and create a diversion for the creek the way they don't want it to, it makes hiking hazardous.
It makes everything
Right.
hazardous.
Yes, and you can't walk out there in the evening.
No.
You're gonna fall into a giant hole. And they're taking the dirt home. So the right thing to do is take the
Process it
dirt,
there.
process it, put it back in the hole,
Right.
and leave. And so I hope someone understands that that's the right way to do it.
Okay, now you have your own YouTube channel.
Yes.
Okay, and if they want more information or what tools they should use, they should go to your YouTube channel. Is that
Yes,
correct?
there's several that I support. Gold Fever Adventures. Another one is Bill Southern with the Nugget Shooter and his wife Tammy with the Nugget Shooterette to learn about metal detecting. And my channel, Cool Arrows Gold, on YouTube and Facebook to learn about the Prescott area
So-
and Yavapai County gold.
Cool, like COOL.
COOL. Arrows. Cool Arrows Gold.
Cool Arrows Gold.
Yep.
I appreciate that.
So one question that I used to hear a lot when my father-in-law moved here
Uh-huh.
back in the early 80s, he used to talk about the lost Dutchman mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's true or fiction?
My personal belief is way back when people first came to these areas,
You're talking about the Spaniards?
yeah, I'm talking about the Spaniards, and I'm talking about Jacob Waltz.
Uh-huh.
We've got a claim. I'm part of the Big Buck Mining Association. That's
Okay.
why I wore this hat.
Good.
We've got a series of 12 claims out in the Bradshaw Mountains.
Okay.
And we're a really reasonable group to join. But the reason Jacob Waltz was also up here through some of our claims and into the Union group of mines through Bradshaw Mountain. So my personal thoughts is I do believe he found gold,
Okay.
but I think it was a surface deposit. And I think he took as much as he could and shoved it in his knapsack and hid as much as he could and went back to get it when he needed it to. So I don't think there's a hole in the mountain.
So that probably
he-
was true. It's probably
Oh,
a true story.
I do believe he had the gold, and people saw him have the gold, and yeah, I do believe there was gold, and there's still gold up there.
There's gold in them hills.
There's
Yes.
gold in their hills.
There-
There was one other question I was thinking about. We know that Crown King was the first town in Arizona that had streetlights. They had gas lamps.
Okay.
I did
Before
not
anyone
know
knew
that.
Okay.
Wow.
And we know that the stagecoach came from Crown King to Prescott.
Yes.
And they stopped by Valencia,
Uh-huh.
which is where my listing is the old town center of Valencia.
I've been out there. It's beautiful.
And so that would be a good area probably to hit up and start hiking around looking for gold. Do a little bit of
100%.
detecting.
Yep. You've got the Hacienda River right there.
Uh,
Is it Starlight Canyon?
Starlight Canyon, that's right.
Which is really known for
I hiked
producing
Starlight
a
Creek,
bunch of gold.
and believe me, that is a tough hike.
Is
It
it?
is.
Yeah.
The last place we saw a bear was in Starlight Creek.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, make sure you got, but as far as raw beauty and the colors changing and the potential to find gold and the potential to find new deposits, that's an outstanding area.
That's a good area.
It really is.
So, excellent. All right, well, we'll put your YouTube channel up. How do people
Thank
get a
you,
hold of
guys.
you and your club?
Well, just go to Cool Arrows Gold on YouTube or Facebook, and you'll find my information under the About section, and you
Okay.
can hook up with me there if you have any questions.
Well, and one thing that we probably ought to mention, more of a PSA, is that I went into gold mines before, and they get dark in there really quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's what you don't realize, that sometimes these things will just go vertical 200-300 feet straight down.
Yes.
They're very dangerous.
And they're very dangerous.
They do.
And so
Yeah.
we would definitely not recommend anyone going into a gold mine
Never.
without a tour guide or someone that knows what
Somebody who
they're
knows what,
doing.
yeah,
A bright light for sure, yes.
yeah, and a couple.
Yes.
And maybe
Yeah,
tell a
never
couple of
go out
people
by
where you're
yourself.
at too.
That would be good, cause your
Right.
cell doesn't work underground.
That's right. That's
No.
right.
I go out with a partner all the time. We both count on each other, and it's important when just a few months ago, we had the accident out on Lynx Creek.
Yeah,
The guy was with his party and decided, I'm just gonna hike out. And when you go out Bandy Mine Road, Lynx Creek is less than a mile from the highway or from Walker Road.
right.
And he didn't make it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's important that we, and he was a young man, and we really don't wanna bite off more than we can chew, because everybody out there, everything out there wants to
Well,
not
and-
let you make it to the
And
top of
we
the
have a
hill.
lot of people that come up for the day or the weekend, and they don't
Yeah.
understand that we're higher altitude. We do
True.
have a lot of wildlife, bears and mountain
Right.
lions,
True.
and so it is stuff that, yeah, you should be very conscientious of, and you should be prepared and stay with your group.
Yes.
And yeah, but it's the wild,
It is the Wild West.
yes.
So, hey, well, thanks for being on this episode.
Thank you guys very
Thank
much.
you
It was
for
a
coming back,
pleasure.
Mike.
Big
All right.
fun.
So, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like and share our videos. Have a great day.